Welcome to the Late Boomers podcast, where we bring you inspiring stories of people creating new chapters in life with style, power, and impact. I'm Cathy Worthington.
And I'm Mary Elkins.
Today we're talking about something many people don't anticipate when they retire. We spend decades building careers, businesses, and professional identities, and then one day that chapter ends. What comes next?
So true. And it's a huge life transition. Retirement sounds wonderful when we're working, but many people discover that after the celebrations are over, they feel a little lost. Without the structure of work, they can begin asking deeper questions about purpose, meaning, and identity.
We've met many late boomers who expected retirement to feel like a permanent vacation. Instead, they found themselves wondering who they were without their job title, business, or professional role.
And yet, retirement can also be one of the most exciting opportunities in life. It's a chance to rediscover passions, explore new interests, launch a second act business, volunteer, travel, create, or simply become more fully yourself.
Our guest today helps people navigate exactly that journey. Anne van Leynseele is the founder of Rarified Life, where she helps individuals successfully transition through major life changes, particularly retirement and post-career identity shifts.
And Anne believes that retirement isn't an ending, it's an invitation to design a life that's meaningful, fulfilling, and uniquely your own.
Anne, welcome to Late Boomers.
Well, thank you so much, Cathy and Mary.
Great to have you.
Anne, tell us about your own journey and what inspired you to focus your work on retirement transitions and post-career reinvention.
Well, I have reinvented myself for months in each decade of my life. So I think that it's a great time to renew when you're looking a few years before you actually do retire. Start thinking about that transition. Most life transitions, we plan and we research, then we make some decisions and we research some more. And little is done as to your lifestyle in retirement. Mm-hmm. So especially for accomplished people, it's difficult to suddenly have no structure and no distinct identity without a job title.
Yeah. So yeah, I can identify with that one because I was with a company for 18 years. And when I left, I had an idea of what I wanted to do, but it was pretty jarring. So, on that note, why do so many successful people struggle with retirement, even when they planned well financially?
Well, financial is one important aspect. It allows you the freedom to do what you choose to do. But again, having a general theme or an idea of what you want to accomplish after you retire is very helpful. You can start to develop passions and even think about a change of location. When I was 48, I had already started thinking about where do I want to be when I'm retired? And I realized I had already figured that out when I was 35 and I lived in Sydney, Australia. I had been to a lovely beach community called Port Douglas, and I thought, this is the kind of place I want to retire. Neighbors were friendly. There were lots of activities. There were engagement possibilities for various institutions and charitable organizations. So I was very excited to find something similar. And I realized, again, I had already been to the big island of Hawaii, which had a lot of the same attributes. Mm-hmm. So at 48, I decided that I would buy a property to retire to in a place I'd never lived and doing something I had never done before.
That's courageous.
Yeah.
You're very brave.
Well, it's worked out very well. So I am now 61. And I am deeply entrenched in the activities on the farm, which is growing globally award-winning chocolate.
I
Oh,
I had a friend from my high school class who, for quite a while, lived there on the Big Island on a coffee farm.
Oh, well, we grow a little of that too, but my passion
Yeah.
is coffee.
you're
I was
growing,
the
you're growing chocolate. What is it called? I'm a big chocoholic.
Well, the brand is Kona Cow. So Kona cow for the second part of
Hmm.
cacao or
Like
chocolate.
a moo cow.
Yes, and I sell directly to restaurants, and I advocate, and I've written a book about this too. Is I advocate that we eat more chocolate with no sugar. So I wrote a cookbook called Savor Your Chocolate.
Hmm.
And that is all about how you incorporate chocolate into savory dishes.
Oh, interesting.
I'm writing
Well,
it
shifting a
down.
little bit, you often talk about identity shifts. So, how much of our identity becomes tied to our careers, and why can letting go of that role be so challenging?
Well, the 65% of retirees report depression symptoms. So we know that there are problems going on in people feeling lost. People feel uncertain. Anxiety also rises, but not as profoundly. So the problem is there, and the identity shift is critical to take in a conscientious way, not just say, "Well, I'll find things that are similar to my work. That'll make me happy." And then they wind up going back to consulting for the company they just left.
Oh, dear.
So,
Yeah. So, that identity shift is really hard to pin down.
well,
People
especially
don't want to shift, do they?
Well, with high achieving people, I think that we need to have a defined way to talk about who we are and what matters to us. And a career title was really just a shorthand for that. Now,
Hmm.
in Preferment, which is my alternative to retirement, I create a whole way of developing that by examining values, um, talking about what on a scale, what your personality traits are. I designed the book sort of like an elementary school workbook. So it's fun, it's interesting. The challenge worksheets are very short, but they get you to a point of realization. Oh, I liked this part of what I did, but it's very applicable to a lot of other activities.
What is
How
the book called?
It's called Preferment. May I?
Preferment. Yes. Of
Preferment.
course. She's showing us a picture,
Yes,
Yes.
the
Beautiful.
book is showing.
actual book.
That is great.
Of Hawaii.
That is not. That is. This is Hawaii. This is me on the back cover with my truck and in my farmer mode.
Uh,
Good. Wow.
love it.
So the workbook is really a great way for people to independently go through the process and figure out what it is that is important to them and what excites them. And
Hmm.
there are 24 exercises or challenges, as I call them, and it revolves around the big three: doing, thinking, and feeling, which is another way of saying physical challenge, intellectual challenge, and emotional connection. Those are all tied to quality longevity.
That makes so much sense. So, help me out here because what are some of the emotional stages people commonly experience when they leave a long career behind? I mean, and change is tough anyway for anyone. But what about this?
Well, it's fascinating. You should bring that up because if you search for personal development or psychological development stages in life, they're very detailed and they're very positive and progress, and they dovetail on prior developmental milestones as we grow from 0 until 60. And then from 60 on, it's all about decline and decay. And
Oh, dear.
I
Oh,
didn't like that at all.
no, thank you.
So
Mm-mm. Thank
I
you.
I actually wrote psychological developments, milestones from 60 to death. And
Oh, I
really,
love that. That,
yes,
our podcast is all about like life after 50, but basically
Exactly.
second
Well, give
half of
give us
life.
give us some
yes.
examples.
Yes, please.
Well, developmental milestones. You understand that your values need to align with your daily activities to feel satisfied and feel fulfilled. And so, how do you course correct for that is all in there. Another milestone is that you understand that you can adapt things that you used to do rather than throwing them away. I'll take an example of one of the people that have been through the program, and he was an avid bicyclist. And he could do 70-mile bike rides on a Saturday. And, he was very engaged in the sport. And he started to have problems keeping up with his biking circle. So it was a circle of people. And we worked very hard and he had stopped writing. He'd just taken that out of his life. And when I asked a question about what are you passionate about, he said, bicycling, but I can't do that anymore. And, and I said,
Mm,
oh, that's silly. My father lived to 89 and was just as avid cyclist. But there were adaptations. So we brainstormed some of those. That's another way that we recognize our maturity in being able to. Um,
mhm.
Social engagement is such a critical thing, and a lot of people are not sure how to add to their social circle after 60.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Can you just
Can be
elaborate
very difficult.
on the warning signs that someone may experience but ignore as they're heading into retirement and without a purpose? Can you just give us a few of those signs?
Well, the key thing is if they think all they need to do is take what they used to do on lunch hours, evenings, and weekends and spread it over 7 days, because that makes for a very thin existence.
Mm.
I mean, we used to get it done around our career, and letting go of a career at minimum is 2,500 hours per year to fill.
Oh,
That's a
yeah.
big number.
Well, many of our listeners are either retired or approaching retirement. So, what's the first question they should ask themselves if they're wondering what's next for me?
What are you going to do with your retirement? Not
Okay.
in your retirement. What are you going to
With.
accomplish with your retirement?
With.
It's a gift. It's a prize. It's a treasure. Preferment is a 15th century word that
Oh.
actually means a promotion or an ascension.
Oh,
And
I love that word. I was going to
thank
tell you I love that word,
Ascension.
you.
but I didn't know it meant that.
Yes, as opposed to scaling down in retirement, we should be expanding and be broadening every aspect of our life. What we do, how the range of physical activities. Don't just go to the gym and do your old activities there and do your workout like it's a check it off the list. Take on new things that are physical. Hiking, biking, there's so many new sports, rock climbing,
Ugh.
Well,
technical
we have
rock
to work on
Terrifying.
that one.
climbing.
Terrifying.
It can be done in a studio with a coach, with a teacher. There's so many physical activities that are movement that don't feel like exercise.
Mm, that's
Yeah.
yeah, like Tai Chi or
Yeah.
any of those. I've thought about that. Haven't
Yeah.
done it.
Hmm. And my
It's,
girlfriend took up golf and she never played before.
yeah.
And
See?
she's enjoying it a lot.
And
And
it's great socially
it's
too.
very social because we have one other friend that she can play with, but they go to the public courses and they pair them up with another set of people. So
Yeah,
they're with two or three people playing, so they meet those people. So
exactly.
it's really a good thing for her.
It's
Yeah.
fantastic, and everyone can find several of those things. I always encourage it shouldn't just be about a purpose, it should be multiple purposes.
Oh, I'm now learning mahjong. Oh,
I
I love it. But
love
it's really hard. So
it.
I'm just going to keep at it and really learn it so I
That's
could start
great.
winning.
And I need
Yeah.
to go back to it. I took
Yeah,
that
you do.
after I left my job, and it was really, really fun and very, very social. And we would meet all the time and at different people's houses. I found I gained a little weight though because people forgot about
All
Oh,
snackies.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, one woman who read the book, she said, I got through the first chapter and you already changed my life. I remembered that I loved pottery. And
Oh,
she said, I took a one afternoon class and now I'm taking an immersive class. And so she's learning how to throw pots and express her creativity in that way.
we
Oh,
once did, remember, Mary, we did an artist for our podcast as an interview, and she was doing the interview from her studio and showed pieces she was making. And
So
she was
beautiful.
really into that. And she had a whole network of people that would come
absolutely.
there and learn from her. Yeah, that was really great. Well, how can people reconnect with interests, talents, or dreams that they may have put aside during busy working years?
Well, again, this is the perfect preferment is
Yeah,
the perfect time for that because
yeah,
you have the luxury that you never did. We always had excuses to leave behind hobbies or, oh, I'll get to that when I'm retired. Well, ta-da, we're here. And it's time for
yeah.
those things. But it's wonderful. Another person that I worked with was going through mementos, and in a box she had something from summer camp that reminded her of a camp counselor that was majoring in geography. No, rock climbing, rock hunting, geography.
Oh,
Is that what it? Anyway, she got very interested in being a rock hound,
Mm,
oh,
and she joined a group, and the group expanded, and she went on trips even with her husband to parks or locations where a certain rock was to be found, and it was all sparked by going through from some boxes, which is another huge topic with people in retirement,
oh,
is downsizing. So
oh, yeah.
but
yeah,
you can accomplish two goals if you want to go through all of your keepsakes. You might find things that inspire.
yeah.
That's a really good
That's a
that's a really
grand.
good point
I
because
just
I
vision
so
surrounded by geodes and amethysts and fabulous stones that you've never seen before.
Yeah, theology.
Some people, but I had this problem when I left my job, which is some people feel guilty that if they aren't staying busy every minute after retirement. And I know I would, when I'd go out on walks late in the morning, I'd feel very guilty about not being at the office. So how do you help clients redefine productivity and success at this stage of life, or even 70, 80, 90, 100?
Well, there are stages of what you call success, and I'm glad you used that word instead of accomplishments. Accomplishments is a little too narrow for retirement, and defining what success is for you is an important first step for that. Because to feel that fulfillment of getting some, planning to do something, doing something, and then completing it is a wonderful feeling. And so removing the guilt is really about giving yourself permission to be selfish in a good way.
Mm.
mhm.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah, and have you I know you have in your new field that you're in now, you've seen people creating exciting second acts after retirement. So
Many.
can you share a few examples of transformations that have inspired you?
Sure. There was a woman who was an executive at Dell, and she really struggled with coming into this with the giving the expected answers. She kept putting forward the things that everybody is supposed to want to do in retirement,
Oh,
and filling in the blanks in that way. And finally, we were talking, and I said, Sarah, not her real name, Sarah, what is it that you did? How was your weekend? And she said, oh, we went on a hike. I went on a hike with some friends. And I said, oh, where did you go? And she said, we went to this and such forest park and, a national forest. And she lit up. And I said, Sarah, this is the theme that you can build on. Why don't you go this week and figure out all of the things you can do that engage you in some way or are connected to forests? And she came back with a 2.5-page list.
Oh my goodness.
She
took the homework very seriously.
Lined paper, but she did. And it was fantastic because it was as varied as join a board for a conservation organization to physically going and working on trail maintenance in parks near her to going to, she joined an art group that goes to local parks once a month, and they bring their art materials and they create artworks and they coach each other and they help each other through it. So it's phenomenal when you come up with a theme, the diversity of activities. We have the beauty of the World Wide Web for finding things that we didn't know existed. I found a really great resource. You said age, and I want to tell you that this was not, she didn't take the course, but I ran into somebody at the Alaska Airlines lounge who was in her early 90s. She was with her daughter, and she said, oh, tell me more about that, dear. And I said, well, what's something that you miss doing? And she said, well, I can't volunteer anymore. And I said, oh, you're wrong, Myrna. You can volunteer. And I showed her and gave the daughter the contacts. There are dozens of ways you can volunteer exclusively online. You can read to the blind. You can catalog artifacts for the Smithsonian Institute.
Yes.
You can proofread ebooks for I think it's the Gideon Society, which is archiving ancient books. And they do a scan of it, but they have to be carefully proofread.
Wow.
I love that.
And do you have even another person who's done an amazing second half, like the forest lady?
Yes.
Somebody like that? I love that example. So I just wanted to know if you had another one.
Thank you. The other one is a man who was a former Marine, and going through the workbook, he actually began to, for the first time, understand his divorce from his first wife, and the fact that he still hadn't really dealt with his military service trauma.
Wow.
And, to find that was a profound transformation. He came back to me months later and he said, I don't care about the filling my life with activities. This has changed my entire well-being, my persona. And, I'm not here, and I have a huge disclaimer when I talk about sensitive subjects that I am not a medical professional. This is merely for you to kind of evaluate your baggage. What are you coming into this with that you might want to heal or make amends or make peace with?
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
That's wonderful.
It's an important time. I mean, death and dying is a topic in America that's not very comfortable. I first did a documentary in the 80s after one of my friends died of AIDS. And I went to a grief counselor, and the way that my grief recovery happened was helping her make a short video documentary about death and dying in the United States, and how we should be more comfortable talking about our mortality, and it can make things easier. So that was an important transformation as far as someone putting his past in a better frame of reference that changed old relationships for him. He was able to ask for forgiveness and be forgiven. And so everything in his life was more meaningful. He laughed more. He found more happiness. Do you want another?
Yes. I love
Okay.
these. I love these.
This is why I love doing this. It's just so rewarding to help people unlock the best rest of their lives. Really figure out, how am I going to be happy? And I want to make that 65% depression number go away. I don't think that
Mhm.
should exist. But another woman who worked for a phone company that took on the poles and the lines in a small town in the Midwest. And she did a very physical career, and she had to retire a little early because of her bad knees. And she had a retirement party, and she did what most people did and do, and sort of spread out all of her social stuff over 7 days. And she was miserable. And we got to a place where she tried something so out of her comfort zone. She needed to lose some weight. She was pre-diabetic, and she didn't want to go into the diabetes hole. And so she took a vegetarian cooking class,
Mm.
and she discovered she loved cooking. And she wound up teaching a cooking class at her union meeting hall,
Wow.
and in vegetarian cooking and healthy cooking, and had impact on her fellow colleagues, former colleagues, and other people that were coming up in physical professions lose weight and get healthier. And that really, and then, other things happen that were wonderful too. But that's kind of finding something that helped her and passing that on. And that is, we should be wisdom sharers. Whatever form that takes once we
Yeah.
leave our jobs, we
Well,
should share our wisdom.
I I think that's so wonderful. And on that note, I mean, you're forming all these relationships when you're starting something new. So what role do relationships and friendships and community play in creating a really meaningful post-career life?
Well, it's fascinating how many people stop communicating with colleagues because they're still in the throes of being busy and talking about work. And many people are hesitant to start connecting with other retired people because, again, they're concerned about falling into that pattern of settling for less. So
Mhm.
I highly recommend reaching out. There are some fantastic apps. There are meetups. There are wonderful ways to find groups that might interest you, because it
Mhm.
is so critical. Very one of the very strong threads that was really well presented in the documentary "Living to 100," the Blue Zones
Mhm.
documentary that came out recently, that really speaks to that social connection on a routine basis is very important, physically and cognitively. Um,
Mhm.
we tend to spending too much time alone can tend to affect your cognitive abilities. You begin to slide into something catastrophizing, which is an overreaction, or jumping
Oh.
right to the worst result. Whenever something happens, it feels devastating. And so emotional connectivity with people also helps with our resilience.
Mhm. I
Yeah.
love that. But
Yeah.
it can be very difficult for older people to try and build a community. It's really difficult. I love what goes on in my neighborhood because the neighbors through the last several years, like starting with COVID, have started to really connect with each other. And so I feel like I have a strong network of those people
Yes.
where but a lot of neighborhoods don't offer that. People can't find that. I agree that meetups are nice, but sometimes they're far away.
Mhm.
So I think it's kind of difficult sometimes for people to navigate these meetups and these things.
I understand the physical can be a limitation. I know someone who had a social group. It was a group of women that met for happy hour every Friday night at one of their houses, every Friday night for 9 years.
Mm.
And
Uh-huh.
two of the members had to move away. One to be closer to family for medical reasons, and one to be closer to family so they could have that support and emotional connection and community. And where she was living
Mm-hmm.
just wasn't conducive. It was too much to take care of in her house that she had lived with her husband. They continued on Zoom.
Yeah.
Oh,
And now
good.
Zoom has
it's
been
Good.
great.
they've
FaceTime. Yeah.
Yes, FaceTime, Zoom, any sort of interactive online, and they understand it's slightly different, but it's still they still have that pattern that they can look forward to. Oh, I'll talk to my women on Friday. I'll talk to my group on Friday. And that kind of emotional consistency of having something to look forward to where you can share your highs, your lows, your struggles, what's going on in the world, and how that's affecting people you care about or your own life. I think it's important that you diversify. It shouldn't all come from one place.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I,
I think back to the very beginning of COVID lockdown when everyone was discovering Zoom. A lot of working people knew it
yeah,
from there, but a lot of people had no idea how to use it. And once we started connecting like that on the screen, like weekly, we set up all these weekly groups
yeah,
and we would connect every week. And that was huge to people.
yes,
So to go back on it now is no big deal. I think
Yeah,
and we started our podcast during that
good. And we have
because
this.
we could do it like this.
yeah.
Yeah. And it's wonderful to meet people like you who inspire us as well as our audience.
I
Well,
know
thanks.
it's
I'm so flattered.
consistently inspiring. But for
Yeah.
someone feeling stuck or uncertain or fearful about retirement, what practical steps can they take in the next few months to begin building a more fulfilling future?
Well, they can buy my book,
Yes.
and
Tell
that
them how to do that.
it's on Amazon. It's
Yeah.
called Preferment. And again, I make pennies. I mean, it's not about the selling. It's about if you need a resource that is, it's proven that it is helpful and it's engaging and it does have concrete suggestions on how to. I also have this great little ebook that's I haven't even marketed yet, but it is how to get on board
Mm.
because that's a huge problem in retirement.
Yeah.
And it talks about, how do you find relationships and find new people to have in your life and find new things to do and challenge yourself intellectually. I think that there are, and if that's too much of a commitment for people, go into Google or go into one of your AI, if you do AI, and ask, how do I find more people my age in my community? What are free things to do in my community?
That's
What
great.
yeah, I don't want to put a financial hurdle. It doesn't the beauty of what I'm talking about is that everyone at every budget point can get more involved in the world around them. It always frustrates me when I have somebody who says, I'm so bored, I don't know what to do. And then I check in, a couple weeks later. So how is it going on the book? And they'll say, oh, I haven't started it yet. And
Ah,
it's like, okay, this doesn't mesh. If you're feeling bored and you can't read one chapter of a very short chapters, my chapters are very short. They're a page and a half. It's one of those things where it's like, okay,
great. That's
you
great.
have to want it. I can't make you want it. You have to want to have your life get
And
better.
this would be somebody who had already contacted you, so you would expect them to want to interact.
They'd already paid for the book.
Yeah, they already paid for the book.
Yeah.
It's like,
So, I mean, I understand it's very easy to get lulled into a very narrow existence. It does take a little effort to connect with new people, but even small steps like taking yourself to a coffee house and sitting in a coffee house. I haven't looked this up, but it's really intriguing to me that one of the Capital One credit cards has now opened centers where you can go. And I think that's incredible because there's a free meeting space away from home for anybody that has a credit card, I'm assuming.
Wow.
But
yeah, they run ads on TV all the time for those.
but these are the
I don't know
kinds
where they are, but I guess you just put it in the search and there they are.
but we're recognizing as a culture that we do need to have places where we can go that aren't all about food because we
Yeah.
do too much of our activities. And, going for a walk, it's a free quality. There are walking groups in every city and I don't know how far they permeate, but Google search walking groups in your neighborhood.
Yeah.
I mean, even in your neighborhood, in a large city, there are listings for walking groups. And
my neighbors, we have our own.
Yeah.
And whenever we spot anybody, we say, come and join us.
Join us.
8 o'clock, 7 days a week. And,
Yeah.
sometimes they do, and sometimes it just falls on deaf ears, but it's fine. It's great.
And I walk every day with my dog, and I think I know virtually every person that lives within a mile of my house.
Yeah.
That's
And
great.
it's
So
Yeah.
great.
to know, that person lives there, what they do, what they love. And on the note of what they love, looking ahead, Anne, what do you believe is the greatest opportunity retirement offers that so many people fail to recognize?
Intergenerational communication and contact.
Wow.
I think that is the missing link in so many people's lives. I mean, the person whose friends moved away, I said, start making younger friends, love. You gotta, look for, and I'm not saying you have to be friends with a teenager, but go to your water aerobics class and see if there are some 40-year-old women that sound fun to you and ask them out for a coffee.
You'd be surprised because my neighborhood, the walkers, we have many, many ones in their 80s. We also have one in her 50s, one in her 60s. And every single time the one comes back from college that started with us when she was 19. And she's just finishing law school.
Where?
And
I'm a lawyer too.
Yeah. Yeah, you're a little of everything. You're amazing.
Yeah.
That's great. That is fantastic.
But I agree, the intergenerational thing is kind of magical. Because there is really no age difference when you're walking with people that can walk. We're all walking together. We don't walk huge, fast speed, and we're not climbing hills.
Yeah, but with people living farther away, maybe you can become their, fill in for a grandparent, or mentor, or an advisor, or someone to have fun with and joke with and teach. Kids love to teach too. So
and the one in her 50s fixes everybody's phones when they can't figure out how to do something because they're in their 80s and they haven't bothered to learn it. And she just takes it, do this, do this, do this. Yep. And they're going, well, it's a good thing we have you, but everybody has something to offer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And all these people, they volunteer. They do incredible volunteer work. They all do that too. So,
and volunteer work. Can I just say one more thing about volunteer then?
Yeah.
There are also wonderful places, websites where you can go to do what they call casual volunteering. You don't have to be all in on one group. You can just say, you know what, next Sunday or Saturday or Tuesday, I'd like to go and spend 4 hours doing something that helps And you can find short, just here, there
Or you
is
don't have to be there every single week at the soup kitchen.
exactly.
Because my girlfriend used to do that, and it got to be too much for her.
Exactly. And then,
Yeah.
you're also not changing the group of volunteers that you're working with. That's another place you can meet social contacts. But you
Yep.
have to follow through with the people and
I'm
say, hey,
Right.
get together. Let's go get a coffee. Let's meet at the park,
Right. Great suggestions. And
Right.
this has just been such an enlightening conversation.
Well, for
I mean,
me
you've
too.
shown us that retirement isn't about stepping away from life. It's about stepping into a new version of it, right?
Yes. And it can be very exciting and very diverse
It's
and accomplish whatever goals you set.
Oh, that sounds
Yes.
great. I'm ready for it. And the idea that we can intentionally design our next chapter or 2 or 3 chapters, it's really, really empowering. There's no expiration date on growth or purpose or reinvention.
And if listeners would like to learn more about Anne and her work, please visit rarifiedlife.com. Is that where we should be sending them, Anne?
Yes.
Yes, rarifiedlife.com.
You want to spell that?
RARIFIEDLIFE.com.
That's great. And
Okay.
to our audience, if you've enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe to Late Boomers wherever you get your podcasts, and be sure to subscribe to our Late Boomers YouTube channel.
And until next time,
Keep creating that next great chapter.
and remember what we late boomers always say.
Yeah, it's now for sure. Listening to Anne, it's never too late to rethink what's possible.